Hey everyone, pull up a chair. This one's gonna hit you right in the gut. 3 years ago I came home from work to find my entire backyard looking like a war zone. My prized Japanese maples, trees I'd nurtured for 15 years, were gone. Just stumps. Fresh sawdust everywhere. The air thick with that sharp green smell of fresh cut wood mixed with diesel from the chainsaws. I dropped my keys. My stomach dropped harder. I stood there frozen. Heart slamming against my ribs. Staring at what used to be my sanctuary. And the worst part? The HOA had done it. Legally. With paperwork. While I was at work. They didn't even warn me. Let me back up. My name is Alex Thompson. I live in a tidy little subdivision outside Raleigh, North Carolina. The kind of place where lawns are mowed on Tuesdays and mailboxes match. I bought my house 12 years ago because of the backyard, big enough for a real garden. Quiet enough to hear birds instead of traffic. I'm not a fancy guy. I work as a structural engineer. But trees are my thing. I started collecting rare Japanese maples when I was 25. Bloodgood, Emperor Eye, Crimson Queen, each one a little piece of living art. I babied them through droughts. Freezes. Even that hurricane that took out half the neighborhood power grid. People used to stop and stare when they walked by. Alex. Those are museum pieces, my neighbor Maria would say. Shaking her head in wonder. Then Karen Whitaker became HOA president. Karen is the textbook definition of a suburban tyrant. Mid-50s. Perfectly highlighted hair. Always in pastel golf shirts and those giant designer sunglasses that hide her eyes. She moved in 2 years ago and immediately started cleaning up the neighborhood. New paint rules. No visible trash cans. Fines for holiday lights left up past January 10th. She sent letters. She knocked on doors. She smiled while she threatened. I mostly ignored her. My trees weren't breaking any rules, they were in the backyard. Behind a 6-foot privacy fence. No one could even see them unless they were invited. But Karen noticed. She noticed everything. The first letter came in March. Your landscaping exceeds the approved height variance per section 7.4 of the covenants. My tallest maple was maybe 20 feet. The rule said 15. Fine. I wrote back politely. Attached photos showing the trees were nowhere near the property line. Offered to trim if needed. No response. Second letter. June. Immediate compliance required or fines will accrue. I called the HOA office. Got voicemail. Left a message. Nothing. July. The fines started. $50 a day. I paid the first one just to stop the bleeding while I figured out next steps. Then came the certified letter in September. Failure to comply will result in enforcement action at owner's expense. I thought they were bluffing. They weren't. October 12th. 2:17 p.m. I got a text from Maria, Alex, they're in your yard. With chainsaws. I sped home. Heart in my throat. Pulled into the driveway and saw 3 people in neon vests. One was Karen. Standing on my patio with a clipboard like she was conducting an orchestra. 2 guys with chainsaws. My Crimson Queen, 40 years old. Worth over $12,000 alone, was already on the ground in sections. Sap running like blood. The smell hit me before the sound did, wet wood. Gasoline. The metallic tang of fear in my own mouth. I ran toward them yelling. Stop! What the hell are you doing? Karen didn't even flinch. She turned. Smiled that thin, practiced smile. And said, Mr. Thompson. This is authorized removal per the governing documents. You were notified. Notified? You sent threats. Not notices. She held up the clipboard. Certified mail. Return receipt requested. You signed for it. I hadn't signed for anything. But there it was, my signature. Apparently forged or misdelivered. I later found out the mail carrier had left it with the wrong house and someone had signed. Didn't matter. The HOA had their paper trail. The chainsaws kept screaming. I tried to step in front of one. One of the guys shoved me back. Hard. I hit the fence. Wind knocked out of me. Karen just watched. Arms crossed. You can file a complaint with the board, she said sweetly. Meetings next month. By the time they left, my backyard was a graveyard. 13 trees gone. Estimated value, $180,000. But it wasn't just money. Those trees were memories. My dad and I planted the first one together before he passed. Every spring I'd sit under them with coffee, watching the leaves turn fire red. Gone. Just stumps and silence. I sat on the back steps that night until the stars came out. The air still smelled like death. I cried. Not loud. Just quiet. Ugly sobs that hurt my chest. I felt violated. Helpless. And furious. The next morning I called a lawyer. His name was Daniel Ruiz. Real estate litigation specialist. He listened to my story without interrupting. Then said 4 words that changed everything: this is textbook abuse. We pulled the HOA bylaws. Turns out they had violated their own procedures 6 different ways. No proper hearing. No appeal process followed. No arborist inspection required before removal of specimen trees. And the forged signature? That was fraud. But the biggest bomb: North Carolina law protects heritage trees and rare cultivars under certain conditions. My maples qualified. Daniel filed a lawsuit within 30 days. Breach of fiduciary duty. Trespass to chattel. Conversion. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. And fraud. We asked for actual damages. Treble damages under state unfair trade practices law. Punitive damages. And attorney fees. The HOA laughed. Their lawyer sent a snarky response: your client's trees were nuisances. Case dismissed. Discovery was brutal. We subpoenaed their emails. Oh man. The things Karen wrote when she thought no one would see them. Thompson thinks he's special with his little bonsai zoo. Time to remind him who runs this place. Another one: if he fights, make an example. We'll bankrupt him with fines first. Screenshots of her laughing emoji replies when the crew posted photos of the stumps. The HOA tried to settle early. Offered me 20 grand and a new fence. I laughed in their faces. Trial was set for last October. The courtroom smelled like old coffee and anxiety. Karen took the stand wearing her best pearls and a martyr expression. She testified that the trees were unsightly and devalued property values. The judge raised an eyebrow. You have evidence of that? She didn't. Daniel destroyed her on cross. Played the emails. Showed the forged signature. Brought in an arborist who valued the collection at $210,000, higher than I'd thought. Then came the twist I didn't expect. One of the HOA board members, quiet guy named Paul, flipped. He'd been recording meetings for his own protection. He turned over audio where Karen bragged. We'll just remove them and let him sue. He'll never win. We have deep pockets. The jury heard it all. They came back in under 4 hours. Verdict: liable on all counts. Actual damages: $210,000. Treble damages: $630,000. Punitive: $120,000. Total judgment: $960,000. But wait, it gets better. The HOA's insurance refused to cover intentional acts. Karen and the board were personally liable for the punitive portion. They had to pay out of pocket. Karen tried to appeal. Lost. Then she tried bankruptcy. The judge denied it, said the debt was from willful misconduct. Last month I got the final check. $750,000 after attorney fees. I framed a copy of it next to a photo of my old trees. I didn't replant yet. I'm waiting. But I did buy the lot behind mine. Expanded the garden. No HOA rules back there. And Karen? She sold her house. Quietly. Moved somewhere else. Word is she's still trying to run HOAs in her new neighborhood. Good luck with that. Here's the thing. Guys. Power corrupts. Especially when it's wrapped in pastel golf shirts and fake smiles. But justice? Justice is patient. It waits. It gathers evidence. It lets the truth speak louder than chainsaws. If you're dealing with an HOA bully right now, don't give up. Document everything. Get a good lawyer. Fight back. Because sometimes the little guy doesn't just win, he makes them pay. Literally. Thanks for listening. If this story helped you feel less alone, drop a like. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you've got your own HOA horror story, tell me in the comments. I read every one. Take care of your trees. And take care of each other.